What is up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Lifting, Running, and Living with your favorite still
Still
coaches,
coaches.
Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Just checking. It's been a little bit. Hey, and JK. That's me. All right. We are kicking off episode number 60. We're going to start off as usual with updates, and then we are going to talk about an active lifestyle. What is an active lifestyle? Who can consider themselves active? What plays a role in that? We're going to riff on that for a little bit. But before that, as always, let's get into some updates. So, Kelly, what's up with you?
All right. So there's two things I want to share today. One is just a quick update for those who have listened throughout the year. Sometime in like January or February, one of those episodes, I said that I was making the decision to stop purchasing from Amazon and Target based on, well, Target was based on things that they had done, and Amazon, I just don't want my money going to a billionaire. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I'm not telling other people that they have to do this, and obviously there are other companies that I purchase from that are probably just as bad. But
No one is clean these days. It's all
right.
problematic. Yeah.
But choosing not to buy from these two places makes me feel like I'm actually able to do something meaningful because I can control my money, right? And I was worried that it would be really hard just because we live in convenience culture and
Mm.
Target is the closest store to me. Granted, there's a lot of stores close to me, but Target's like a mile. And then, we have all the other usual superstores, supermarkets. Um, uh, so the Target one hasn't been too bad. Just because, you can get a lot of things at like King Supers, Costco, whatever.
Yeah.
Amazon has been a little more interesting because
Okay.
I just have to be like more patient with things. So where I've noticed the pain the most is in random objects that I don't buy frequently. So like there's been one time I purchased from Amazon between then and now. And it's because I broke my phone case. Or no, my
Okay.
screen protector
Yeah.
that protects my camera. I
Oh,
broke
yeah.
it.
Yeah. The lens covers.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I drop my phone frequently enough that I was like, I can't buy this from some random site that's going to take 2 weeks to get here. Like, I need this kind of tomorrow.
Okay.
And I have no idea where you buy that in store other than like Target. Maybe Best
Mm-hmm.
Buy. Actually, I should have checked there. Anyway, I bought that on Amazon. But like other things like, uh, what was, there was something I bought, some cleaning thing. It's like grandma's secret spot remover or something.
Okay.
Usually I would get that on Amazon. So then it was a fun like treasure hunt trying to find like where else can I buy this online? And it wasn't something I needed immediately. It was just like I noticed mine's running low. So it's been kind of
Hmm.
cool finding things on other sites and
Yeah.
buying it. Or like trying to see. I went to McGuckin's, which is a store in Boulder. It's like a cross between Target and Home Depot, kind of, is the best way I can describe it. It's
That
so
is a very weird combo platter there.
it is, yeah. It's one of Ty's favorite stores. But I
Okay.
went there with my friend because she was doing the same Target Amazon like freeze out, and she was like,
Yeah.
"I get a lot of stuff at McGuckin's," and I was like, "I've never been in this store before." And it was like cool experiencing, new stores where it's like, oh, I can go here and buy things. Like I don't Target's not my only option. Amazon obviously is not my only option. So it's been fun
Yeah.
exploring, and I've been pleasantly surprised that like now I don't even think about Target and Amazon. If I need to buy something, I like if it's not at a store I know where to get it, I'll immediately go to Google and search it. So it's kind of cool that like my habit has changed from immediately going onto Amazon, you know, or Target.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Is there a particular site that's like a go-to for you now to check with items that you normally would get from Amazon? if somebody's listening and is thinking, oh, I'd like to check out something different, like if they wanted to participate, anything you could think of, or
So I think it's hard because obviously it depends on the product. But one
yeah,
site that comes to mind, because at Target I used to get all of our like dish soap, hand soap, all of those things. Because Costco doesn't have the one. I like Mrs. Meyer's. Costco doesn't have
okay,
that in bulk, so I can't get that at Costco. Um, so I started a recurring subscription to, I think it's Grove Collective is the site. It's kind of
okay,
like a Thrive Market, but more for like cleaning supplies, stuff like that. So now I just have that set up and it'll just come here, every few months instead of me just running to Target when it runs out. Um,
interesting,
yeah,
okay,
because that was like one of the biggest ones that I use Target for, other than
hmm
groceries, which obviously that's easy to get elsewhere, where I live at
okay,
least. Um, yeah, there's not really much else I would get Target wise. Amazon was always, there were some things I had a subscription to, like the mascara I use,
hmm
but that one, like, I have an Ulta down the street. So that's an easy substitute. Or like
right,
there's a Sephora not too far. Um, yeah,
hmm.
it's just like there's lots
Okay,
of options that I would not have thought of just because my default was Amazon and Target. And
that's fair.
there's not really anything that I need immediately, except for my phone thing.
Yeah, I mean that totally tracks. I get where
Yeah.
you're coming from there. I will give a shout out to a site called thriftbooks
Yeah.
.com. Okay,
I've
yeah,
gotten books
because
there.
yeah, when I don't need is a really big over exaggeration. When I don't need the book
Yeah.
right away, like if I'm part of a group that's reading the book and I waited till last minute, need it in 2 days, like that sort of a thing, then I'll just get it on thrift books and usually can find it at about the same price for used and all that stuff. And I haven't gotten something there in a while, but for anyone
Mhm.
who's looking for an alternate site, would the word be alternate or alternative
I
site?
think either
Probably
could
alternate.
work.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Alternative reminds me more of like music.
Yeah, I
So
think either
anyway,
could work.
okay, different,
Different.
something
Yeah.
different. If
Yeah.
you're looking for something a little different, thrift books, yeah, I recommend them.
Yeah.
So
And just a reminder for everyone, just use the library if it's something I don't need
yeah,
to own. So,
yeah, I'm big on keeping the books, but
that's
that's a
fair.
whole different episode. Yeah.
Yeah, we
All
can go
right.
into that later.
That's cool.
Yeah, so pleasantly surprised about that. I will be curious.
Cool.
I stopped our Prime subscription, but I pay annually, so that ends in November. But
Okay.
I really don't think that'll impact much because the only show I watch on Prime is The Summer I Turned Pretty, and that will be over in 2 weeks. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. Other than that, since we last spoke, we both had birthdays. I can't
Mm-hmm.
update on your birthday because I wasn't present, but I can update on my
Fair
own
enough.
birthday.
That's fair. That's reasonable.
So I did the same thing I did last year. I did a birthday run and then ice cream after. Obviously, my run this year was zero point 0.1 miles farther because I'm a year older.
Mm.
So that was a fun little gathering. I got to see my brother and his wife and my niece. She is 4.5 months
Oh,
now.
that's cool.
Yeah, they just grow so fast. Any parent listening knows. But this is
Yeah.
the first baby I've really seen, other than like, I was kind of old enough when my youngest brother was born, but I was 5. I don't remember the stages of him growing.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. And especially when you don't see someone every day. Like, I hadn't seen her since the end of June, so I was like, "Wow, you're so much bigger now." You know?
Yeah, with kids for sure when you don't see them in person, because even when you see them on videos or FaceTime or anything like that, I have definitely come to notice that when you don't see kids in person for a while and then you get like the reintroduction, like, oh
Yeah.
snap. Like, oh dang. Like
Yeah.
where'd you sprout up from? Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, I imagine, once they hit, like, puberty, if you, like,
Yeah. I
see
mean,
them before and after.
yeah, we experienced Emma and I were talking about that. We experienced that like a couple of years ago when we went on a cruise. We went on a cruise to the Virgin Islands for one
Mm.
of Emily's friends, like a destination wedding, and then just coming back and We're like, Mace grew or something. I don't know. So yeah, but that is definitely a thing. So a good birthday all the way around.
Yeah, so I did that Wednesday night, which was the night before my birthday,
Mm.
and a bunch of like my running friends, obviously my brother and Ty. Yeah, mainly just my running friends came to that. And then the next day on my birthday, I left for Steamboat Springs with one of my other friends, and we were meeting. So 2 friends for the weekend. I left Ty at home, but it was like a girls' weekend. Because one of my friends has been living in Steamboat for the summer, so we planned this to be like my birthday trip and also visiting
Mhm.
her. So went up there Thursday through Sunday, got back yesterday. We're recording on Monday. So it was nice. It was a little warmer than I wanted because Steamboat is like 1,500 feet higher than we are
Ooh,
here. So I thought it would be cooler at this point, but I always forget early September is now still summer, you know?
that's cool.
Yeah, but it was nice just being it's like in the mountains. It's a small town, it's like a ski town. So we mainly just hung out in the mountains, went to they have hot springs, went there, like went out to dinner and just hung out and caught up, which was really nice.
Jeez, sounds like a total like Jet 2 holiday, I tell you. Nice. That's legit. Very real. I'm obsessed with that, by the way. The Jet
That
2 holiday.
sound.
Every if you want me to watch something, put that audio in the
Oh
background
my
because I
god.
I will stick around to see what happens. Yeah, I will stick around to see what happens. I so
Most
yeah,
of
you
them
got
are really good.
yeah. So far, I haven't watched anything, and for reference, it's all reels for me because I don't use
Right.
TikTok.
Yeah.
So far, I have yet to watch one that wasn't at least mildly funny.
Yeah.
Like it just is hilarious.
I
Yeah, I
I
just
think all the ones I've seen
that
on TikTok are funny.
yeah, that audio is like it's like a call. It's like a dog whistle or something. It's like, oh, where that is hilarious. So, anyways,
Yeah.
all right,
It
well,
it was
cool,
not a Jet 2 holiday in that sense.
fair
Although
enough. Well, that's good.
I was convinced that there was a ghost in our Airbnb, but I don't think there was.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Any other updates or
No, no,
you
that's
good?
it. What's up with you?
Okay. So as you mentioned, birthdays. So we had those. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary to report with those. So, um, and for frame of reference, my son turned 13. Yeah. So he's 13 now.
Big birthday.
And yeah, is it?
I remember
Oh,
being so excited to be a teenager. Maybe it was a
oh,
teenage girl thing.
yeah. I don't know.
It was like a big deal when I was growing up, at least.
I'm trying to
Anyway.
think. Yeah, I can't recall for myself. I can't recall specifics. I do remember about 13 was like when I started being able to grow like facial hair. I remember
Oh.
that I was able to do that. And I've been like about the same height since I was about 13 or so. So
You know, that's a little terrifying.
that I've been 6'2"
Yeah, I'm like I've never
or
really
6'1" and 3/4 to be
yeah, just
exact.
thinking about, like, when people hit their adult height, you know?
Oh
It's
yeah.
just so
Yeah.
weird that teenagers are that tall, and then you just stay that tall.
Yeah. I could yeah, I'm pretty certain that I didn't really grow a whole bunch after that because I also shoe size wise, like I've worn a 13-ish since I was about 13 or 14 because that was the running joke for a while was that
Oh.
my age there was a block of where my age matched my shoe size.
Oh.
Literally, like, when I was 9, I wore a 9, when I was 10, I wore a 10.
Oh,
I think it
that's
was
funny.
right in that cusp, yeah. And I remember one of my parents just being like, "Ooh, this could get pretty rough." Yeah, things slowed down, though, so we're all good.
Thankfully.
So, yeah, by the way, if anybody wants to buy me shoes, yeah, pretty much right around now, about a 13 pretty
You
much
don't need any
works.
more shoes.
Let's not talk about that. All right. So anyways, we had the birthdays, and then, one update that I've got, so around this time last year is when I was in my fat loss phase
Yep.
because I've had some of those memories starting to pop up on Instagram and stuff like that. So I had considered at this point, I've been in 10-ish weeks of specific intentional nutritional maintenance. And I say specific intentional because I've been, excuse me, more often than not tracking, my commitment is to track my food 3 or more days per week. And pretty much it's actually averaged out to probably about 5, if not 5 to 6 at
Mm.
this point. So that's been consistent with that. And I've mentioned on previous episodes that I wasn't totally sure after going through like this particular time frame. Then around September, I decide, okay, am I going into a cut or not? I've decided I'm actually just going to stay in maintenance at least
Mm.
through the month of September for sure, and kind of continue to ride things out, because as of right now, I'm still staying within about a 2 to 3 pound swing of the weight range that I think works for right now. And then also measurements for the most part are staying within the range again, like where I want to be. And then still TDEE, so my daily energy expenditure and my recommended calories continue to go up as things stay in range. I will be interested to see how things start to shake out as the weather gets colder, though,
Yeah.
because the amount of like self-talk that needs to happen to get up from this desk that I'm at on days where I'm not at my in-person job and I'm at a desk working on programs and calls and things like that for a longer block of time, the internal self-talk to get up and take a break and go for a 10-minute, 12-minute walk just around this loop in our neighborhood becomes a bit more of a negotiation
Yeah.
as the weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
I
it's like,
do.
well, now I gotta
Mm.
put on like a couple layers. Not yet.
It's
I've
coming. Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely rented this movie from Blockbuster before
Yeah.
and have never returned it.
Uh-huh.
So might be. So stay tuned. We'll see what goes on there. I'm looking over
Mm.
at my little baby treadmill here that is not sufficient for doing anything more than walking on for my size. So that may get fired up a little bit more. So we'll see. And one thing I was going to mention as the last part of my update, as part of this nutrition thing, I looked at possibly doing like a MATADOR protocol. Are you familiar with the MATADOR protocol? Okay.
No.
So the MATADOR protocol is, I'm going to pull up the exact, like what the acronym stands for. However, it's based on a study that was done. And in this particular study, what was done is they took, I want to say it was 50-ish obese men, and whatever the definition of what obesity was for that particular study, but overweight/obese men, they took 50 of them. And what they did, I thought it was a really interesting study. And this is not anything new to anybody who's like in the nutrition coaching space. They're primarily going to be familiar with this. But what they did was they split them into two different groups. So group number one, I can't remember the exact time frame. But group number one, what they did is they went into an average of a 35%, it was 30 to 35% calorie deficit.
Hmm.
And they did that slow and continuous or not slow and continuous, but they did it continuous deficit for, let's say, like 6 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'm not looking up the exacts from the study. What I am going to look up real quick though is to tell you what the Matador thing was, like what it meant. Okay. MATADOR stands for minimizing adaptive thermogenesis and deactivating obesity rebound. So long story short,
Okay.
they take the two groups, right? So
Yeah.
group number one has the caloric deficit for X number of weeks.
Okay.
Group number two, so let's say they have it for 10 weeks, actually. I think it was. So 10 weeks continuous deficit. Group number two, what they did is they did 10 weeks of the deficit, but every 2 weeks was broken up with going back to maintenance for 2 weeks. So it was 2 week
Oh.
deficit, 2 week maintenance,
Okay.
2 week 2 week, then calculate again, okay, based on where you are now, what would be a 30 whatever percent deficit? Do that for 2 more weeks, and then what would be 2 weeks of maintenance? So it was equal. And somebody out there is like, oh, why don't you know the specifics? Because my head is full of a lot of things right now. It's the end of a work day. I might actually do an episode on this.
Okay.
So basically they equated the number of weeks at the deficit, but group number 2 basically took diet breaks.
Oh, so it's like that study that we went over where the one group lifted for like 6 weeks with the progression, and one group did like 3 weeks and took a break, then another 3.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay.
Exactly. And the aim of the study, from my translation, the aim of the study was to see if you stretched out the deficit period with the repeated diet breaks, would that reduce the risk of obesity rebound where you gain all the weight back?
Mm,
Because it's a generally accepted understanding that dieting itself is not the problem. It's typically people not being able to sustain whatever happens after the diet.
right.
And what they found in this particular study was significantly better results in terms of both the amount of weight that was lost and also their ability to maintain that weight loss with the group that had the diet breaks.
Ooh, cool.
So then that's why it's now called the MATADOR protocol.
Gotcha.
So I had played around with, I had toyed with the idea of potentially looking at doing something like that, because I was like, I don't necessarily feel this compelling reason to go into fat loss right now at
Yeah.
all, like not at all. And also, like, I have this thing about like once a year do something really difficult,
Hmm.
and I still I still have no desire. So anyways, basically I say all that to say I had thought about it, but nah, not right now. Yeah, I know Lane Norton, who's one of the bigger names especially in the nutrition space, but just the fitness space overall.
Hmm.
He also talks about doing like these diet sprints where it's like 2 week sprint, and then you take a week quote unquote off, and then 2 week sprint and take a week off. However, that week off, where people usually jack it up, is they think that week off is just like YOLO
Yeah, like
week,
free
and
for all.
that is not the case. It's actually you return to, or you go to what you believe your assumed maintenance is. So if you started at like 2,000 calories, you take a 30% cut. What is that? 600 calorie cut. So you go down to, is that right? 20, 40,
Hmm.
60, 600. Yeah. So then you go down to 1,400. Then wherever you're at the end of that particular deficit period, then you recalculate, okay, what would maintenance then be based on
Hmm.
my new body weight now? And then you bring it back up. So you're still, it's not like if you started at 2,000, then you assume that your new maintenance is 2,000. They were constantly recalculating. And I
Yeah.
know Lane Norton has done some stuff on diet breaks if anybody really wants to like dig deep into it. Lane Norton. And then I know some years ago, Jade Teta, Teta, if anybody's listening that really wants to like dig into that. So anyways, I thought about possibly doing that. So that may still potentially be on the table, too. Side note before we get into the active lifestyle conversation, I think a few years later or a few years ago, one of the two, someone did a different version of the study, shorter time frame, but they did it with women,
Oh,
and found a negligible to like almost no difference between the two groups.
cool.
So no difference as far as the results. Like both groups
Yeah.
basically had just about equal results. So
Huh.
that in turn can be, you can translate that however you want.
Yeah.
If you're someone who is like myself, who's very much all more along the lines of let's figure out the approach that works for you, then I would be utilizing that to try to bolster a case for the validity of it's going to be about what's the best thing for you to be able to stick to.
Right.
Because you can either go 6 weeks and just like bite the bullet for 6 weeks, or we can stretch it out to 12 weeks, understanding that you're going to have still some more calories to play with as you go. So there
Yeah.
you go. They still have not figured out. I know there's like another study that's being done. I think it's called a break study, but there's another study
Hmm.
that's being done in relation to that to see if they can try to get some information on why there was such a big difference with the obese men, but not with the females. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't want to commit to it, but I may do an episode on that in the future. Because I think even with the women, it might have been, I don't think that they picked women that were considered overweight or obese.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they might have been resistance trained. I've just been looking at
Oh.
so much information recently that it all melds together.
Yeah.
So
Hard to separate it.
yeah. Yeah. So that was, I don't know, nutrition talk with Coach JK. There you go.
Nice.
All right. All right. Let's see. So you
Active
want to get into
lifestyle.
the active lifestyle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I share some context on where this came from?
Yeah. Tell the people why this is coming up.
Okay. And putting this in the show notes, a link to the Instagram post, you think?
Yeah, I can.
Or no? Okay. All right. We'll talk to the operations head. Get that done. All right. So so the topic of an active lifestyle. So what is an active lifestyle? What does it mean to be, if you identify yourself as an active person? Where this popped into my head most recently was after watching this reel, and I want to give credit to, her name is Asia. I think it's Asia Broadus. I want to give her credit real quick because that would not be cool to not. Yeah. Asia K Broadus, Broadus is the profile. And she made a reel, which I think was very well made, by the way, too, where she started with, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, because that was hilarious to me. But she essentially said being active is not the same as having an active lifestyle. And an example that she brought up, and I don't want to get into the semantics of like, well, if it's 3 days or 5 days, I think there's a broader conversation to have here.
Yeah.
So the example that she gave is, just because you go to the gym and do your workout 3 times a week doesn't mean that you have an active lifestyle. An active lifestyle is all about your overall activity. That means things that you are doing outside of your workout. So that's part of what inspired this. Another piece that inspired this is very regularly, if you're somebody who goes onto a online calculator for macros, or MyFitnessPal or Precision Nutrition is a macro calculator that I recommend if there's somebody who's wanting to do that. TDEE.net is a very popular one. Most of them are going to ask you about your daily activity.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be really interesting because some of them will try to help you quantify like what active is based on not just your training, but
Yeah.
also the type of job that you have. It'll ask if your job is sedentary and things like that. So I think about it in terms of that. And then kind of last, but certainly not least, I think about it also in the conversation that in my neck of the woods is picking up more and more and more volume. Just seems like almost by the day or almost by the hour, with talking about GLP-1s and microdosing and who they're for and who they're not for, where the active lifestyle piece is being inserted into that conversation from most of like my echo chamber,
Mm-hmm.
is coaches who are saying, regardless of whether you are going to go down that road or not, there are basic foundational things that you need to be doing as part of an active lifestyle. And there we go. So there's a few different angles to this, and I thought it'd be something kind of cool to talk about. So where do you want to start? You think start with maybe a couple of the organizations and what they recommend, or?
Yeah, let's start with them.
Okay. So let's see here. I had my friend ChatGPT pull up a put together just a quick list here of some of the recommendations from organizations like the World Health Organization, the CDC, the American Heart Association. I won't read through all of these. I'll just pull out some snippets here. So these are going to be just general recommendations that have been made by different agencies. And I will fully admit that right now I am sure that for some people they'd be like, how in the world can you quote the CDC? Like okay. I am simply just bringing in some other pieces. So whether you are team RFK or not, or Maha or not, or wherever you stand on these different things,
Mm.
I am bringing in some different recommendations from different places, and I didn't really exclude anything based on my personal feelings or your political stance wherever you may happen to be. I'm just out here trying to help people get fit.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, so World Health Organization, what they do, that's the UN's public health agency. So they set international health standards. So their recommendation is adults should do at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity aerobic activity per week, plus muscle strengthening activities on 2+ days. So basically, we're talking that 150 number with just about all the organizations. 150 seems to be about like consistent as I scrolled through this whole thing. Like everybody
Yeah.
basically had the 150 in there. So that
Yeah.
range of 150 to 300. So 150, you're talking like 2 and
2.5 hours.
a half hours. Yeah, math is
Mhm.
hard sometimes. So 2.5 hours where your heart rate is at a moderate level of intensity, and also a couple of days of strength training. So plus a couple of days of strength training, and that was a recommendation from the World Health Organization. ACSM recommended basically the same thing. The American College of Sports Medicine, so they deal a lot with sports medicine and exercise science. American Heart Association, they said 150 minutes of moderate or 75 minutes of vigorous activity weekly, spread throughout the week. Um, and National Institute on Aging, there's all that it gave on this particular one. Older adults should include aerobic strength, balance, and flexibility activities every week. And what I thought was interesting also is, according to GPTsha, it says that the National Institute on Aging, they look at active living equaling independence. So focusing on
That
daily
makes sense.
functions like walking stairs, carrying groceries, reducing fall risk. I think that's a good kind of lens to also identify is with each organization. This does play a bit into the political piece of this. With each organization, getting an understanding of what is that organization's primary focus.
Yeah.
So if a primary focus of an organization is like if it's the World Powerlifting Organization, then the focus is going to be on activities that benefit powerlifting.
Yeah.
If it's the National Institute on Aging, and I love the fact that that's in there, that it's like, okay, well, that's identified as being able to do things independently.
Yeah.
And I can
And
immediately
the
think of, yeah, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, and the American Heart Association one makes sense because they didn't touch on strength training. They just touched
What was
on
that one?
they were 150 minutes of monitor, 75 minutes vigorous because like that's cardio for your heart. It makes sense. They care about the heart. They don't care about muscles. You know.
Yeah. Well, I would say I get where you're coming from. I would say like they focus primarily on the heart.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like their
Yeah.
recommendations are more about like heart health.
Because for a second, that totally sounded like the conversations that sometimes come my way, where somebody. So this is very regular, not a regular conversation, a very regular reaction. So someone will say, let's use this as an example.
Okay.
So say that I say, hey, what I want you to focus on right now is really prioritize, get in 30 minutes cumulative of walking every day. And that's an actual thing that I have 2 specific clients doing right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
every day, accumulate 30 minutes of walking every day. And somebody will overhear that and be like, oh, so you don't think it makes sense to lift weights?
Yeah.
Like, bro, what? I don't, can you, that is definitely not what I said.
No, that's a leap.
Yeah. Or we start to get into the conversation about like seed oils. And I'm like, okay, first, are you drinking enough water? Oh, so you don't think seed oils kill people? Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Like you definitely had to stretch before you made that reach. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. All right. Anyways, so yeah, those are some of the recommendations from those particular organizations. So, what do you think? Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
how would you define,
Oh no.
or what do you think are aspects that should be part of a active lifestyle
Um,
from your point of view?
from my point of
Yes,
view,
yes, your point of view. Active lifestyle. What would you
uh,
describe as an active lifestyle?
I mean, I think it would include like these recommendations, but these recommendations really are like your workouts for the week, like intentional
Mm,
workouts.
mm-hmm.
Like at moderate intensity and above is not a walk, you know? Um, well,
True.
okay, I guess I can't say that for someone maybe,
Let's talk general though.
yeah, general.
Yeah.
Walking is not moderate intensity for most folks. Um, so all these
Are you saying walking is an exercise? Oh no.
I did not say that.
Okay.
I walking would
Just
not
check.
qualify for your 150 minutes for most people, is what I'm saying.
I am
Unless you're,
definitely being petty right now.
I know you could
Okay.
speed walking could enter the chat and disagree with us,
Ooh, facts. Facts.
yeah, okay. Um,
Anyways.
so it would include these recommendations, which would be including workouts. I would say some sort of moving every day. Where it gets hard for me is like quantifying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where's the cutoff? Obviously, there's not like one strict line where it's like you're active versus not. Um, but more like intentional movement throughout the day. Like I think
Yeah.
about you going on walks, which is something I
Mm-hmm.
aspire to and don't reach every day. Like I'm really bad at it.
You're like, good job. Keep doing that.
I see your stories and I'm like, I should also go for a walk. And then I get sucked into work and I'm like, it's been 4 hours that I've been sitting here.
Oh, yeah. It's so easy to happen though.
Yeah, it
Very
is.
easy to happen.
Yeah. But like walking, I think about things like actually going to the grocery store and walking around and shopping, you know, and anything I'm saying, like I've done the opposite. I've done Instacart. I love that. But yeah, more
I'm not
intentional
judging.
movement. Yeah. Even just like, on days when I do laundry, I have to walk up and down the stairs to get the
Mm-hmm.
laundry and just kind of like trying to do a little more, just like get up more, I guess. Even if I'm like in my house all day since I work remotely,
Yeah.
getting up and walking around, get up, walk outside, even if I'm like not going for a walk, like I can like, walk around the perimeter of my house kind of thing. But just trying not to sit still for too long, I would say is one of the key things if you can avoid it. And obviously, I'm guessing we'll get into like I know you have it listed. It's so hard nowadays just because of how our society is.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll probably quickly transition to that. I have like one thing, but we'll get into the modern challenges. I think that's a very good
yeah,
point there.
it's
Yeah.
it's I have found with remote work, and we've talked about this before, like
Mhm.
with remote work and not having a home gym, it's so hard for me to go to the grocery store because now I have to plan it. Like I'm never just out and about versus when I used to go to the gym, it was like, "Oh, I'll stop at the store on my way home and
Oh,
get
yeah.
groceries." But now it's like I have to write it down on my little calendar. Like, "You are going grocery shopping today. You are going to Costco." Otherwise, like I'll work all
Interesting.
day and then I'll be like, "Well, I don't feel like going now. I can last until tomorrow." And then I'll be like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll just order Instacart instead of actually going, you know?"
It's like an introvert's dream.
It is, but I do feel better when I, like, physically
I
go to the
I
store.
understand. Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to hear that banging playlist that's playing at the grocery store, you know?
Oh, yeah. I just like walking around.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing in my definition of an active lifestyle. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think that something that was mentioned when I asked for some prompts about this whole subject was an active lifestyle being more about an identity, not just specifically about activity. I thought that was an
Mm,
interesting point. And I'm not here for the conversation around like, the gym is your whole personality sort of thing.
yeah.
What I'm talking about and what it mentions is someone with an active lifestyle chooses movement by default. It's woven into
Mm,
daily habits and identity, not an isolated event. So I thought about that because I'm like, you know what? That definitely is something that I can now identify with that I would not have identified with previously. So some examples that I can think of is no longer, I can't remember the last time or the last days that I consistently was looking for the closest parking spot at a place
yeah.
if I'm by myself. Let me put it that way. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here,
It's
but
it's
I
realistic.
it is very like I go to the grocery store multiple times a week.
Mhm.
So I just got done at the gym, so I'm going to swing by on my way home, that sort of a thing. And I'll buy stuff for like, 2 days at a time. People probably think I'm the weirdest grocery shopper because I just
No,
buy,
I do
I,
days at a time. I can't
yeah,
plan that far in advance. Mm-mm.
I don't do like a big haul. And
No.
for me too, if I have all of it, I will just eat all of it. Like I'm not waiting a whole week to,
Yeah, that's fair.
like, yeah, like snack pack, get out of here with that. So, purposely, so I think about things like that. Like it's just natural for me to pull up, many, many rows away from the front of a building or a store for the most part.
Yeah.
When you were talking about laundry, and I was thinking about that, it's very natural now that when I'm contributing to like folding laundry, I have the laundry basket in one spot, fold, and then walk over to the other side of the living room and stack, and then walk
Mm.
over. It's just natural now.
Yeah.
It's just like a natural, normal thing. Um, times when I have, times when I have the ability to, I'll take, there's like a morning meeting call that I'm on most weekdays for entrepreneurs, and I typically will take that standing up for the most part. So it's little things I think like that
Yeah.
when traveling. And this is just one of my things that I typically suggest for clients anyway, is like wherever you if you're going somewhere that you can be safe with walkability, then try to default to walking most places that you're going because you also
Yeah.
get to see more scenery and whatnot. I remember when I went to Vegas for the
Mhm.
coaches conference. I remember I wanted to go get my haircut.
Oh,
I got in like on a Sunday night and it was late, but they have like barbershops that are open till like midnight or something.
that checks out.
And yeah, we were staying at the Virgin Hotel. So this was 2 years ago because last year was a different hotel. But we stayed at the Virgin Hotel, and I remember the Uber driver that I got from the airport to the hotel. I was asking him real quick. I was like, "Hey, I made an appointment for this barbershop.
Mhm.
There's an app where you can just any place in the country you can just find a barbershop." So
Oh,
made a point for the barbershop. I show him the thing and I was like, "Hey, real quick, like, can you just give me the rundown?" Because I used to live in St. Louis and Chicago. I am very aware that like 2 blocks one way can be a completely different universe than 2 blocks the other way.
yeah.
So that's why I like to ask locals, like, should I be rocking like walk down the street here or not so much? And I remember the guy was just like the place that I picked, he was like, he was like, he's like, you could walk it. He's like, but there's a part in the middle. And I was like, say less, man. Like, I'm good. I'm totally, I'm totally fine. So he's like, it's walking distance, but
Yeah.
he was like, yeah. And I don't want to besmirch any place in the Vegas area, but he basically was like, the closer you get to this particular area, the further away you are from safety. So
Mm.
that particular spot, yeah. But then when I showed him the gym that I was going to, he was
Mhm.
like, "That's like a 2 mile walk," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm not asking about the distance. I'm asking about the safety." And he was like, "Oh yeah, you're cool." It's like,
Yeah.
"Cool." So just thinking of things like that, like walkability, I
Yeah.
think that definitely is a piece of it.
I would say also adding on to that is taking the stairs. Um, that
Yeah.
one, depending on your life, like, I don't encounter that super frequently, but what
Right.
comes to mind is traveling, like the Denver airport, um, if instead of taking the escalators up, I'll take the stairs mostly because I don't, you've been to Denver. You get off that train and everyone's trying to get on the escalator, but no one's trying to get on the
Oh,
stairs.
I've only been there once. That one time.
Did you
So
actually
I
go
can't
to the
claim.
terminal or did you stay?
I was in the
Did
terminal.
you get out at Denver or were you on a layover?
No, it was a quick
Okay.
layover.
So you
It
haven't
was quick.
experienced, but there's
No.
trains to each of the concourse. Well, there's one train that goes to each concourse, A, B, or C,
Okay.
and then takes you back to the terminal. So, like, once we get to the terminal, it's like getting off the subway in New York. Everyone floods out
Mm.
and floods into the escalators, but no one is going for the stairs. It's like me and like maybe two other people. I'm like,
Oh, nice. Vegas is kind of like that sometimes too.
yeah. So I'll do that or
Yeah.
like um you know how they have like the conveyor belts at airports?
Yes, the people movers.
The people movers, yeah. I don't use
Yes.
those. Granted, if you're on those, you
Same.
can still walk, but most people just
Right.
stand there. Uh, so I just,
It's
yeah,
like painfully slow. Yeah.
it is,
Yeah,
and
that's a
especially
good
some
point.
people don't like respect the traffic laws. You know, if you're gonna stand somewhere, be on the right side so I can pass you if I
Facts.
so
Facts.
choose to want to be moving. But yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So I'd say another one that was mentioned in here was, playing with your kids.
Mm,
So I think the phrase that really sticks out to me is choosing movement by default. Like
hmm.
it just is part of your natural thing. I'll mention one more thing, and then I definitely want to make sure that we talk about modern challenges because I think that's a big topic there too, or a big piece of this topic too.
Yeah.
I have a client who is in administration in a large campus, a large educational campus.
Hmm.
And one of the things that she talks about, she does two specific things. And I think this is so awesome that she does this. She very regularly, instead of instant messaging people, she goes to their office, even if it's in another building.
Oh,
She does that. And then two,
wow.
whenever possible and appropriate, if she needs to do like a meeting with someone, she'll try and do a walk and talk.
Mm,
And I think those two things, I think that's absolutely fantastic. So, random thing, when I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch, all of the interviews
okay.
were walking interviews. You walked them
Oh,
all. hmm
that's
That
pretty
was
cool.
a normal thing. Is
Hmm.
because I remember my district manager like had me doing interviews for people, and he was like, just walk around with them, and that was just a very normal thing.
I like that
I don't,
actually.
yeah, I never asked like the why behind it, but I was like, all
Hmm.
right, then we'll just go.
Yeah.
Anyways, not that I'm trying to stick up for Abercrombie and Fitch these days. All right.
Didn't I thought they had
So
a redemption?
they've definitely done like different stuff, but Mike Jeffries was
Yeah,
yeah, that's a whole
I
different
remember that
because
documentary.
yeah, because Les Wexner is also involved with like the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing too. So it's a
Yeah.
whole tangled web of creepy dudes. So
Yeah. Anyway.
anywho, so modern challenges to being active. Modern challenges to being active. Things like sedentary jobs, screen time, and commuting culture. I don't know what commuting culture means. What do you think that means?
I think it's just customary
Maybe
for us
long
to
commutes?
commute to jobs,
Okay.
yeah.
Like long commutes.
Yeah, and it's usually
Convenience
like
can
if you're commuting, you're probably driving or sitting on a
yeah,
train, you
or a
know?
train.
Yeah.
Oh, flashback to when I worked in Chicago and lived here. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, convenience can strip away daily movement. So, groceries delivered,
Instacart,
Kelly,
yep.
drive-throughs, escalators. So, being active in today's world often requires being intentional. I could not agree with this more at
Yeah.
all, for sure.
Yeah, and I would also add something that what's your Chat GPT's friend's name? Chat
Chat GPT.
Tisha? That
Yeah, we can just call her Tisha.
what Tisha did not mention, I would also say is like the hustle productivity culture
hmm
because it kind of goes with sedentary jobs. So like I think about my job, um, which is not the worst thing I've ever heard about. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there still. But like the pressure to be so productive within a workday and that does not encourage you to take breaks. So it's like really
Ah,
common to be like, okay, well, I have so much I need to get done, so much that like whether I have deadlines or like higher ups are expecting something or like this is just our company culture. It's like people don't take breaks. They eat lunch at their desk. They sit through straight through the whole workday. So I would say that contributes a lot. And then that breeds, moving towards the convenience of groceries, drive-throughs, escalators because we
mhm.
feel like we don't have time for intentional movement because we're so wrapped up in hustling and being productive for our jobs, which I think is a very US thing. So if we have any non-US listeners, you're probably like, what are you guys talking about? Uh,
Yeah.
but within the US, it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's only gotten worse with AI too. Speaking of ChatGPT, because now we can do more in less time, and instead of being like cool, we can be more productive in less time. Maybe let's give our workers some time back. It's like no, now we expect more out of you.
Expect more. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can move so much faster and do so much more.
Yeah. Solid points. I also think about it in terms of with that hustle culture or more the productivity obsession is sometimes I think you can be glued to your devices because it's like, well, let me just answer 2 more emails real quick. Well,
Yep.
let me just do this one more thing. And there's always like the one more thing that's going to keep you still attached to your device or attached to your chair. Something that I think about all the time when I see convenience, and this is not specific to physical movement, this is just in general with how I spend my time, is where are the areas where I'm using convenience for good and where are the areas where I'm using convenience for bad.
Mm-hmm.
And for lack of a better way to like categorize them.
Yeah.
So for example, uh, if I don't know. I'm trying to think of a particular example. So say if I'm to like order food
Mm-hmm.
or something like that's convenient. What did that allow me to then do now that I have some more of my time back
Yeah.
because I'm not cooking the food? Like what is that allowing me to do? So I think that there are certain activities or conveniences and devices and systems that we now have in place where yeah, it's all good. Like I don't think that convenience is always a bad thing.
Right.
I think for me only, the question that I ask myself is what is this convenience then allowing me to do? So I used to think about this way more, not as much now, but with automations in business.
Mm.
So like the automatic reminders to do a check-in, the automatic, you can schedule out text messages, you can schedule out posts.
Yeah.
That's not something that I've gotten into, but it's like, okay, well, when you when you're doing that, what is that then freeing you up to do? And that's a question I think only the individual can possibly answer. I really started digging into that after reading The Comfort Crisis, that
Mm-hmm.
book,
Yeah.
where it was like slow, like nudge and drift towards getting more and more comfortable. And I even thought about this with, I remember watching Mace. It like struck me like totally weird. I was watching him try to look something up on
Yeah.
Google. We were down here and we were on the computer, and I was watching him try to look something up, and we were looking up like a few different things, and I just noticed he never finished typing out exactly what he was looking for.
Oh,
So
because
you know how
autocomplete.
yes. And I was like, it was just it is likely the weirdest thing, and it's still a vision I cannot get out of my head
Yeah.
because I notice it now. I can't unsee it
Mhm.
anytime that I now see it all over the place where I now purposely, as much as I can remember to, I physically keep typing the whole thing out,
Mm.
even if it's like a website or something like that, just because I know people think it's weird, but I just watched it and I was like, dang, he legit, if he wasn't using like Siri,
Yeah.
he legit like, and I just watch multiple people do it. They type like 2 or 3 things in and then,
Then find what they're
you know,
looking for. Yeah.
yeah, watch, you won't be able to unsee it now.
I
Like
know.
you'll be like,
It's
wait,
going
hold
to
on,
ruin
that's
Google
weird.
for me now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. So again, it just like being active, it goes back to being intentional.
Mhm.
So that whole active by default thing or movement by default, I think is a good one.
Yeah.
So, um,
Cool. Any closing thoughts?
yeah, I will run through these quick questions. So questions that you would like that you can ask yourself to know if you're truly living actively. I think this is good food for thought
Okay.
here. So Tisha gave us 4 questions that you could ask yourself. 1, do you move more outside of the gym than inside it? So there's that.
You could
But you could
also I
also
feel like you should extrapolate that for our runners.
I was just about to yeah. So what how would you extrapolate that for the runners?
Do you It gets kind of hard for runners, you know? I
Are you feeling attacked right now?
No, but I am
Okay.
going to the extreme where I think of ultra runners. If you asked an ultra
Mm,
runner, like, "Do you move more outside of your run than inside it?" On certain days, they might be like, "No, I ran for 12 hours." You
that's fair.
know?
Yeah,
But
that is
on a
fair.
typical day, like,
Generally.
not your
Yeah.
longest runs, do you
Yeah.
move more outside of your run than inside of
Yeah,
it?
I think what comes to mind for me on this one is how often am I using my workout to justify not getting up from
Mm,
a desk or getting off the couch for 10 minutes?
yeah.
Like, how often am I using that to try to justify, well, I did this morning,
Mhm.
so that's good enough for whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's where my brain goes on that. So,
I like that.
yeah. Um, number 2, do you hit some form of movement every day, even if it's light? That's a reasonable question. 3, do you recover well enough to stay consistent, not just push hard in spurts? That is a great one.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
then last, does movement feel like part of who you are, not a chore? So there you go. So a few prompts from our good friend on how to know if you're truly living actively. All right. So there we
Lovely.
go. Yeah. Interesting little topic there. So
Yeah, it is interesting to think about. So, if anyone would like to share their food for thought answers with us, you can do so on Instagram at Lifting Running Living Pod, or our email is liftingrunnинglivingpod@gmail.com. And if you just like our show, you can give us 5 stars rating and review. Less than that, keep it in the group chat. And that's it.
dang. Savage. All right. And with that, that has been another episode, or this has been another episode of
Yes.
Lifting, Running, and Living. Thank you. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye.